It's a Locked On Raptors bonus mailbag question. Yes, you sent questions. I didn't get to all of them, but I want to get to this one about Collin Murray-Boyles, okay?
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi. Yeah, you don't get the hey on this one. It's a bonus episode, okay? It's a bonus Locked On Raptors mailbag special. I'm going to start doing these a little bit more because you guys send in a lot of very good questions, and I don't always get to answer all of them on the podcast, and I think that's unfair. And so because I love you, I'll start to do some of these extra bonus mailbag hits with, good questions I can sink my teeth into for 10, 15 minutes, and we will do that on today's show. Of course, a reminder, as always, follow the show, subscribe, rate, review, join the Discord, link in the description of the podcast. That's the place to ask these questions. You go to the mailbag chat there, you ask me a big beefy question, and I will get to it either on a main episode or on one of these little bonus joints for you. And this is an opportunity for me to kind of give a little kiss from daddy to a very good mailbag question sent in by one of the freaks out there. And the freak in question today, whose question gets the kiss from daddy, is our pal, Jax from the Locked On Raptors Discord, asking, where do you think Collin Murray-Boyles' development should go as a player? He's played center admirably well and filled in a need for the Toronto Raptors, but is that the best development path for him? And what would it take to steer him towards playing more as a wing / becoming more versatile? It's a great question from Brian. I will say, I think Collin Murray-Boyles is plenty versatile already, and he's a rookie, which is kind of incredible. It's kind of the superpower of Collin Murray-Boyles. I think he's a hard guy to evaluate because he just does not look like he should be comfortable and physically able to play center in the NBA. And yet, here we are. He's just really good at it. He's one of, the 30 best centers in the NBA already. Just one of the 30 best guys at playing the position, full stop. It's wildly incredible. Totally not expected for any rookie to be this good, this physically at home in the NBA this soon. I mean, he's gone up and battled against Steven Adams and Joel Embiid and all kinds of large dudes over the course of his young career so far. And he just seems to be totally comfortable with it. He does not seem like one of these dudes is going to be like, yeah, I'm a 4, but I don't want to play at 5. It's so tiring. Oh, no, it hurts my body so much. Doesn't seem to care. Like, dude just bounce off of him. And the way he defends at the rim, the way he can switch and defend in space, the way he rebounds, despite being just 6'7", I think he's hella versatile. And I think as a center, he's been so good that I think it's fine if he goes forward just being a center. I think he does a lot of things that really work at that position. I think he's kind of working. We've seen the last couple of games, some forward steps of progress when it comes to him as a roll man target. We've obviously seen him kind of ditch the skittish around the rim passing and just is going up and dunking and finishing a little bit more frequently. It's been very cool to see. And I think, this is the thing that Darko Rajakovic has spoken about when he's been asked about Collin Murray-Boyles and his positionality this season as well, is that they're very much not sort of looking to funnel him down one sort of silo of development just yet. They're still learning very much what Collin Murray-Boyles is as a player, and I don't think we've gotten nearly enough tape to figure out all that he's going to be capable of. And we probably won't have that for 2-3 years as he sort of goes through the motions of being a young player and coming up against resistance and adapting and evolving and getting to tap into new skills. I mean, Darko's also talked about how they just haven't really drawn anything up for Collin Murray-Boyles this year. He's just been kind of a garbage man on offense, a play finisher, a dump off guy, all that stuff, transition finisher. They'll probably start to incorporate him more into their offense as the years go on. And then we'll start to learn a little bit more about what kind of chops he has with the ball in his hands as a dribble handoff operator, as a pick and roll guy. And I'm very excited to see where it can all go. I do think we get way too overly concerned with positional designations and putting guys into narrow boxes, especially when it comes to unique players. And Collin Murray-Boyles is a very unique player, and there's no such thing as very unique. You're just unique or you're not. But bear with me here on the strained use of the English language. When it comes to guys who have sort of one-of-one skill sets plus dimensions or just stuff that you don't find replicated very often around the league. It can kind of warp our brains a little bit, right? And we think like, okay, well, this guy should be this because he's this size and he, in theory, should be a wing. But like, sometimes you just got to take what a dude's giving you. And what Collin Murray-Boyles is giving you is just damn good center play. And I think if that's what they do going forward, just kind of put him down the center track, I think that's completely fine. When it comes to sort of building out his game, I think there's all kinds of things that we could kind of see to kind of enhance the types of positions he can play. I'm not worried about the positions as much as I am sort of the types of players he can play with in lineups that are optimized to his skill sets. And obviously a big part of making yourself a better fit in a lot of lineups is, can you be a good 3-point shooter? He's been, I think, well above what we thought he'd be on super low volume so far this year. A long way from declaring one way or another whether Collin Murray-Boyles is going to be a good 3-point shooter. But if that's something they can bring along, it opens up a lot of horizons for his game. It opens up a lot of ways in which he can be deployed by the Raptors. And I think, we'll talk about it in a second on the other side of the break. I'll get to the sort of fit with Scotty Barnes. But, if those guys go in as sort of the 4 or 5 of the future, I think that's fine. Are there ways to, get more size and shooting and all that stuff? Yeah. Like, the position Collin Murray-Boyles plays, I think, will as much be determined by the things he does to kind of round out his game and develop as it will be by the types of guys the Raptors go to sort of enhance the roster around them. Right. And I think all kinds of possibilities open up when you bring in certain player types. And I think we've seen this year, it's been really fun to see all the different types of guys the Raptors have and how they can mix and match skill sets and pair this big man with this front court guy and this wing and kind of get some interesting combinations that way. All told, yeah, like I think playing center is not going to hurt Collin Murray-Boyles' ability to develop in other ways. And I don't think the Raptors are going to look at him purely as a center always, even though that's kind of what they need him to be right now. And if that is eventually what he ends up being, he seems damn good at it and is totally fine. I think, again, we'll see over time if he can kind of work on the on-ball chops, if he can figure out a way to work in a 3-point shot that's reliable. Can he find some sort of mid-range? I don't see a ton of that right now. It does feel way more like a big man package of skills, but there's plenty of time here, and he's clearly a dude who knows what he's doing. He learns fast, and I'm excited to see where it can go. I do want to come back on the other side here and get into the idea of Scotty and Collin Murray-Boyles as the sort of building blocks for the team, and why I think it's viable. If you want to just have Collin Murray-Boyles as your sort of de facto center, I think that can make some sense. Is there a way for the Raptors to build the team around those guys that kind of enhances that? We'll talk about that in a little bit more as we continue to dive into Brian's very good mailbag question on this bonus episode of the show coming up in just a sec. Today's show is brought to you by ZocDoc. And look, finding a doctor, it's an important thing. If you have a doctor, if you have someone you trust you can go to when things aren't feeling right, you're going to have better health outcomes. That's just kind of how it goes. And ZocDoc is the way that makes it so you can find the perfect doctor for you, easy and free. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering over 200 specialties from primary care to dentistry, to dermatology, and eye care. And it's a huge thing. Maybe you have like a chronic issue you deal with and you really need to have a doctor with a specialization in that. ZocDoc can help you find it. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/LockedInNBA to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this bonus episode of the pod. Today's show is also brought to you by Wayfair. And look, sometimes you just want to buy new stuff for your house. It's that simple. You get stale. The wintertime is terrible. You want to get some fresh stuff, items, decor, whatever in your house. Wayfair is a wonderful place. It's a one-stop shop for you to get your home back on track, from bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every home. Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. We are big on storage solutions right now with a baby at home. Just needing places to store all the crap that comes when you get a baby. There's just so much stuff, and we need to be able to tuck it away so we're not living in just like a land of toys and stuff like that. So yeah, storage, big thing. Ottomans with storage inside, perfect. You can find those over at Wayfair. I picked up new bedding, accent pillows. You can do all that kind of things, all that kind of thing over at Wayfair to give your house the refresh it needs. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now. Shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. And today's show is brought to you by TurboTax. TurboTax helps make tax season less awful. Yes, I don't like doing my taxes. It's terrible. I bet you don't like doing them either. If you're an independent contractor or whatever it might be, if you're a freelancer, your taxes can be a real mess. But with TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employment forms, and they work to get you every single deduction. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th to make sure they can do it this year for you. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. All right, picking it back up here, a little mailbag question from our pal Bry Jacks in the Locked On Raptors Discord, asking about Collin Murray-Boyles, his development track. And I do think, like, you cannot separate the Collin Murray-Boyles of it all from the Scotty Barnes of it all. I do think it's pretty clear based on what we've seen this season, based on just the realities of the windfall that is having a very good rookie fall in your lap, and the sort of incredible value it is in today's NBA, where rookie scale contracts for good players are just a huge place to kind of gain an advantage in team building. Like, I think it's clear Collin Murray-Boyles, Scotty Barnes, these two dudes are the guys that everything's got to be built around in the future. Like, they are, even including Brandon Ingram, who just got named to the All-Star game, by the way. Congrats, Brandon Ingram. That's awesome. I think long-term, Ingram's contract only has a year left, potentially a year, an option year after that. Who knows what the future holds there? But Ingram, Barnes, these two dudes are going to be here for the long haul, full stop, no doubt. And I think how those guys each develop individually in the coming years, and also the players the Raptors go and find to piece around them, it's going to be really important and will inform where Collin Murray-Boyles goes with his development. And going back to the idea of those two guys just holding up as a starting 4-5, I think it's attainable. Like, I think the Raptors have, like, it's unorthodox in a league that's seemingly moving to be bigger at all times, a league that is constantly kind of scaling up, and all of a sudden 6'10", 6'11", 7-foot guys are in vogue, and the Utah Jazz are rolling out jumbo ball where they have 4 dudes 6'10" and over. Like, that is definitely, like, that is a way that things are going. I also think basketball is cyclical. Basketball constantly evolves, and if you can be really good at a thing that no one else is quite as good at, like, you can find advantages there as well. And so I think there's an avenue here for Scotty Barnes and Collin Murray-Boyles to just simply be the backbone of one of the best small ball teams in the NBA. And if you can do a thing better than anyone else can, put teams on the back foot, create matchup disadvantages with having a different set of guys out there and a different look than other teams are throwing out, like, that can be an avenue to real sustained success. And Scotty Barnes and Collin Murray-Boyles, those two guys together, I think it's pretty clear they are going to be the backbone of excellent defenses for a long time. So far this year, 993 shared possessions per clean the glass. The Raptors have a plus 7.9 net rating in those minutes. Offense is 114.1. It's fine. It's slightly below average. Defense, 106.2, a 96th percentile defensive rating for those two guys, no matter who else is on the floor with them. It could be, the most common lineup is RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickley. None of those guys ace defenders. Ingram's been pretty good. Quickley's been above average. RJ is RJ on defense. There have been lineups where it's, some Mamu in there or whatever. Like, all of these lineups, the defense just consistently excellent throughout. And I think it's pretty horrifying to think about what these guys can do as Collin Murray-Boyles continues to, presumably grow into his body more and become stronger than he already is, if that's possible. But he's 21 years old. There's still growth to be done by this guy, some physical maturing and all that stuff. How the Raptors build around these guys is going to be fascinating. I think, it's a big reason why last week I went on my whole thing about Mamu's got to be the top priority this summer, because Mamu is such a hand in glove, perfect fit with both of those guys. And if you can find Mamu and or some other kind of stretch big to play with those guys, to unleash them as a 3-4 combo where, maybe Murray-Boyles is a cursory 3-point shooter. Maybe you're fine with Scotty not being one if you have other shooting on the floor. That's always going to be the big challenge, right? If neither are good shooters, like, can you be good enough on offense to make the defense worth it? So far, so good in that regard. The offense isn't amazing, but the defense is absolutely incredible, and so they make it work. But yeah, I think finding, sort of a long-term, and not just one guy, but like multiple bigs who can kind of pair with those guys as shooters, I think would be a way to give yourself some, optionality, right? I think this is the big thing. If you're going to build around Barnes and Murray-Boyles as your, presumptive 4-5 of the future, which I think is a totally reasonable thing to do, you're going to want to make sure you have alternate options, right? You're going to want to make sure you have a traditional 7-footer like Jakob Poeltl right now, hopefully coming back soon, to be in those lineups as a sort of, again, a big sort of counter to jumbo teams. You're going to want to have spacing bigs. You're going to want to have more like-sized wings if you want to go super switchy across the board. Like, more options is always good. Different types of players and skill sets to pair with those guys is good. I think that's got to be the way forward here. And yeah, if Collin Murray-Boyles himself discovers some more on-ball craft and becomes a better shooter, it all makes everything a little bit easier, a lot easier, frankly, to sort of build around these guys. But I think it's a viable thing to think that these two guys, whether it's the 3-4, 4-5 combo, as Masai Ujiri once said about Scotty Barnes, I think it applies to Collin Murray-Boyles. They're just future basketball players, man. They're guys who kind of defy position, and that's what makes them awesome. And so I wouldn't worry so much about, is Murray-Boyles getting funneled down the wrong track? They're funneling him down the track that right now he's telling them, this is the thing I'm best at. That could change over time, and I trust the Raptors to adapt and figure that out. They do seem to have a pretty good handle on, okay, like, these are the things that work for players. We're going to let them experiment and figure out what else works. And if it doesn't work, we're going to bring it right back to the core stuff that works. I would imagine that's going to be the case with Collin Murray-Boyles. And that is going to do it for this bonus episode of the podcast. Thanks to BryJax for his lovely question. If you want to be like BryJax and get some more of these bonus questions answered on a little bonus episodes of the show, please go ahead and send them on into the Locked On Raptors Discord. Link in the description of the podcast. Of course, you can also sign up for the Locked On Raptors Everydayer Club. If you do that, you get ad-free episodes of this show, including the bonus episodes. They'll be free for you as well of ads, and you can hop on in at the link in the description of the podcast to do that. And it's very much appreciated when you support the show, however it is you choose to do so. But this way, it makes me feel very good, and it's only $5 a month and $50 for the year to get those ad-free shows and access to the Locked On Discord. So thank you in advance for doing that. And in the meantime, follow, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. I'm going to shoot the basketball because that's what I do at the end of the podcast, even if it's the short podcast, except I don't have the ball with me. It's a hockey puck instead. Goodbye. Woo, banked it in.